Hey guys, it's Ernest. Out of 3,453 indie games released on the PC this year, 113 of them received their play scores. From that, we give you the top 10 PC indie games of 2018, all arranged by play scores. The play score is an average of gamer and critic ratings. Starting off our list is Guacamelee 2. A Metroidvania platformer from Drinkbox Studios, Guacamelee 2 is a sequel to their smash hit, which was released on the PS3, Vita, and PC back in 2013. About 5 years after the first game, this second installment attempts to fill the shoes of its legendary predecessor. Back with a colorful tour of Mexican culture through the eyes of their tough-looking luchador, 2 managed to incorporate everything that made the first game good, while adding new features to keep up with today's tough Metroidvania crop. What made the game stand out was its dedication to general fun and excitement. Considered a more forgiving Metroidvania platformer than most, it's still demanding and challenging when it needs to be. Along with its new powers, the control changes may have been uncomfortable for some. Keeping extremely faithful to the spirit of the original, it's a great title for anyone who just wants more of their signature Mexican adventures. It has a play score of 8.68. In possession of number 9 is Unavowed. Known for their compelling adventure games for the PC and the mobile, Wajirai Games adds another feather in their cap with this latest point-and-click title. In it, you play the role of a former demon possessee who now dedicates their life to stopping evil, along with an ancient group called the Unavowed. It's an odd premise, but they happen to make it work, creatively crafting a world built on players' choices. For its breadth of decisions though, Unavowed may lead players to some dead ends, as well as some areas that are less dead but still a bit lacking. Its puzzles, being the genre's lifeblood, range from easy and straightforward to downright obscure. But told in traditional point-and-click fashion, Unavowed still feels like an enveloping adventure experience packed with interactive puzzles, intriguing storylines, and interesting characters. It has a play score of 8.70. Shuffling to the number 8 spot is Just Shapes and Beats. Berserk Studios' maiden title is one hell of an action rhythm game. A game that blatantly defies its own name, Just Shapes and Beats might be an accurate description, but it hardly encompasses everything that's great about it. A gem hidden among this year's indie titles, it fought its way to the list with its straightforward but addicting rhythm gameplay. Boasting many video game inspirations, it has appealed to swaths of gamers for its simple yet familiar visuals and controls. Combining rhythm with a bit of bullet hell, getting into the groove is a necessary part of the game. Though its EDM songs may not appeal to everyone, the bass-packed tracks are perfect to their endlessly engaging stages. There's challenge in every one of their game modes, each designed to cater to a different kind of audience, whether in their moving story mode or in the fierce multiplayer competition. Simple and sophisticated, it has a play score of 8.77. Delivering all the way to the number 7 spot is The Messenger. A retro adventure from Sabotage, this tale of Ninja Gaiden meets Back to the Future lets players play as a skilled ninja as they slice and dice their way through enemies all around time itself. Set in a cursed world, deliver a scroll to secure the survival of your clan. Powered by a trippy pixel art style, jump, slide, and run your way through various locations. Defeat bosses, villains, and other associates that stop you on your path. Much like Dead Cells, this retro platformer is praised for its responsive and exceptional controls. It's a wild mix of insanity and slickness, especially with its amazing soundtrack, story, and ridiculous sense of humor. There's a lot of inspiration coming from this game that leads to its unique amalgam of science fiction, ninjas, retro platformer, and everything in between. Also, don't forget to deliver the message. It receives a play score of 8.84. Saving humanity at number 6 is Into the Breach, a follow-up to the successful Faster Than Light game from Subset Games. This turn-based roguelike indie game is simple, but underneath its mechanical layers lies a challenging adventure. This aspect seems to have won over the usually cold hearts of PC strategists. Now touted as one of the benchmarks for strategy video games, Into the Breach brings you to a not-so-near future of endless warfare and colossal mechs. The goal is simple. Players must help the remnants of human civilization as they're threatened by gigantic extraterrestrial mechanical creatures. Most of the game's success comes from its pure tactical gameplay. Some reviews are calling it a better version of chess. Its difficulty doesn't rely on numbers alone, and players must exhaust all their options for that sweet turn advantage. This pixel-perfect strategy game receives a play score of 8.89. Hey, what about you? What was your favorite PC indie game this year? You can tell us all about it in the comments section. You can also get the games in this list by using our links in the description box below. And if you want more of What to Play, check out our gameplay channel, What to Play Live, where we play the latest and greatest games right here in this top right corner. Diving into the number 5 spot is Subnautica. Appropriately from Unknown Worlds Entertainment, this open world survival game lets us dive deep into a deep, dark, and mysterious abyss. Released in January early in 2018, Subnautica has proved itself worthy all throughout the year. Considered a refreshing take on the survival genre, it explores a whole new kind of environment, very unlike the usual post-apocalypse or forest wilderness. Immersing you into the isolating undersea of a new world, Subnautica has its fair shares of struggles and scares. While it shares the typical base building, resource collecting, and management as most survival games, the story, atmosphere, and biological diversity is what sells it. Set in a stunning aquatic world, these individual aspects work together to keep the experience fresh every time. And it especially rings true with the many horrors that await in every corner. A thalassophobic's dream and nightmare combined, it has a play score of 8.95. Dying multiple times at number 4 is Dead Cells. Motion Twin's roguelike Metroidvania platformer hack and slash became a breakout sensation when it released on the PC in August, and for good reason too. A fusion of many genres and inspirations, Dead Cells weaves all of them into one cohesive package. At conception, Motion Twin put combat at the forefront of development, so it hardly comes as a surprise that it's one of the game's biggest strengths. With the visceral thrill of their hack and slash-like action, it balances out the masochism that the roguelike genre usually entails. Paired with the excitement of finding exotic new weapons with each run-through, a feature mainly inspired by Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells effectively turns pain into pleasure. It brought roguelike to casual players, and it drew even more people into their world with its atmosphere, art style, and soundtrack. A fun, rewarding gem in a sea of competition, it has a play score of 9.03. Giving us the artsy treatment at number 3 is Grizz. Much like Annapurna's Florence, Grizz seamlessly incorporates watercolor art styles into one fantastic indie adventure experience. Released just weeks ago, it's already taking over our list. From Nomada Studio and published by Devolver Digital, this kaleidoscopic experience lets players control Grizz, a hopeful young girl lost in her own world. Her journey is emotional amidst the game's fascinating presentation of beauty in each corner. Covered with pain and sorrow, her dress adapts to the environment, enabling her to grant new abilities to better navigate this dreamlike world. Its sense of wonder and serenity, despite its somber themes, make Grizz a masterclass in game design, story, and of course, art. Its simplicity in gameplay and controls is compensated by the sheer amount of passion the developers are trying to convey in each level. There's no text and no dialogue, just a young girl trying to find her way back home. It's a haven for artists, hopeless romantics, and art connoisseurs. It receives a play score of 9.04. Ascending to number 2 is Celeste. Winning PC's Game of the Year on this year's The Game Awards, Celeste is a product of years and years of indie platformers that didn't quite make the cut. An indie 2D platformer, it combines the platforming expertise of Towerfall Ascensions and Skytorn. Together, they tell the story of Madeline's uphill battle towards the top of Celeste Mountain. Also, it's hard. For casual players, gameplay spikes will be the death of them. For challenge seekers, the mountain calls for your bravery as you unlock the game's many secrets. But within its punishing platforming gameplay, Celeste weaves in a lesson on mental health and the upward struggle of overcoming it. It also pays to consider its variety and inventiveness as it mixes up their jump, dash, and climb in a way that feels fresh every time. The atmosphere is formed by its charming visuals and heartwarming score, and it adds to its overall appeal. It has a play score of 9.15. And here are the runners-up before we reveal the number 1. The Forest. End Night Games' open-world survival game will let you channel your inner Eagle Scout in an island filled with cannibalistic mutants. Use crafting skills to your advantage and survive the horrors of the forest. It has a play score of 8.65. Yoku's Island Express. Pinball and platforming in one. Awaken the sleeping deity as you bounce around the ancient Mokumana Island. It has a play score of 8.60. Far Lone Sails. A game without enemies except for the mystifying atmosphere of the loneliness. Take control of a vehicle sailing around an endless post-apocalyptic sea. It has a play score of 8.56. Iconoclast. Use your mechanical expertise and save the world one bolt at a time in this fun indie Metroidvania from Joachim Sandberg. Offering a heart-wrenching epic about friendship between its Metroidvania adventures, it has a play score of 8.55. Minute. Savor every second of every minute-long lifetime in this indie title from Devolver Digital. Step out and lift the curse in this adventure wrapped in retro-style pixel. It has a play score of 8.46. Horizon Chase Turbo. A 90s-inspired arcade racer. Drift your way through a number of race tracks and outrun your opponents with your mad driving skills. It has a play score of 8.45. Red Strings Club. An indie cyberpunk adventure from Devolver Digital. Engage in psychological bartending to gather information or use high-tech gadgets to uncloak your enemy's plans. It has a play score of 8.45. Do Not Feed the Monkeys. A game for natural voyeurs, become Big Brother in this surveillance simulator and make sure nobody feeds the monkeys. It has a play score of 8.40. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2. A revival of classic run and gun from Crazy Monkey Studios. This sequel to their action side-scroller is packed with humor, gore, and crazy gunslinging. It has a play score of 8.39. Brass Tactics. VR gets its fill of real-time strategy with this game from Hidden Path Entertainment. Great for single-player and online skirmishes, it has a play score of 8.38. And the best PC indie game of 2018 is Return of the Obra Dinn. From the creator behind Papers, Please, Lucas Pope's mystery game takes players into the year of 1802, where the merchant ship of Obra Dinn sets out from London to embark on a perilous trading quest. Things go topsy-turvy when the ship never appeared on its rendezvous point. A true indie game experience, players assume the role of an investigator and solve puzzles, find clues, and picking the pieces together to find out what really happened of the Obra Dinn. Critics and fans adored the game's detective elements, calling it a satisfying experience that makes you look like a genius. However, its art style may not be for everyone. Aside from that, the music and the atmosphere is breathtaking. The moment players enter the story, the journey begins and the story keeps pulling you back again and again until you solve the mystery. It's worth every penny and it receives a play score of 9.25. And those were the top 10 PC indie games of 2018. If you love this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to become a certified whatoplayer. That's about it, see you next time.